Oh my goodness. We are live. Hey everyone. This is the Lynn and Debbie show, and we are super excited about the guy that we have here today. So we will be right back right after this. And I'm off my kilter here, so hold on. Welcome back. Hey, I'm super excited. I know we were like a couple seconds late. Producer doesn't like to do that, but it happens sometimes. So welcome aboard, you guys. I am super excited. Debbie found our guest for today. And I wonder why she has this hat on, but maybe we'll find out here soon why. So I'm super excited. Is there anything you want to say before we introduce this?
I am just amazed with this young man and so super proud of him. And I'm so glad that he could join us today to share his story. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Hello. You all have quite the setup here. I love it.
Thank you. We like doing little productions, no pun intended, but we do. Welcome to our show. We are super excited to have you here. So we got lots of questions for you, and Debbie's got this little thing. She's just showing off.
I am. It's all about the hat.
Great looking hat.
All about the hat.
Yeah.
I know. This logo. Tell us, Matthew, what does this logo stand for?
So that logo is our company's
don't tell
logo,
us yet.
eFuse.
Don't tell us yet. You know what?
Yeah, let me ask you a question, then tell you that.
Well, actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about you first, and then we're going to drill you with a bunch of questions. How about that?
Sounds good.
Benson,
where
were you born and raised?
Proudly born and raised in Chillicothe, Ohio, so Southern Ohio, about an hour south of Columbus. Grew up there, went to school over in Athens at Ohio University, and now currently residing in Columbus.
Very good. What are your thoughts? I mean, growing up in a small town, and you've gone so many places now, and you live in Columbus. What are your thoughts on Chillicothe now as an adult?
I love Chillicothe. It's always going to be home for me. And I don't think I appreciated it fully growing up, but it's a really interesting community because it's got a lot of diverse people for being in Southern Ohio. And there's a lot of interesting jobs and interesting occupations that kind of make up the town. On one end of the town, you've got the truck factory, the Kenworth truck factory. You've got the paper mill. You've got a hospital there. You've got great school systems. So all of that combines to create this really diverse socioeconomic ecosystem where you get to learn and from a lot of diverse people. So I still love going home. It's kind of relaxing for me because it's in the foothills of Appalachia. So I go home to relax and kind of reconnect with the roots, but absolutely love it there.
Someone just popped in. Miss Sean Benson, part of my heart, aka Matthew's mother, who is a rock star human being. So,
she is.
But Matthew, so when you come home, do you hike? And I know you run and you exercise and walk, and it's a good place to do that too.
For sure. Yeah, you've got Great Seal Park. So you've got some great hikes you can go on. We actually have the Buck 50 coming up here, I think next weekend, which is a 150-mile race that is around the community. So it'll be cool to do that and to be a part of that. But my parents and I actually go on a lot of long walks around the city. And that's one of my favorite pastimes, just because you're surrounded by the trees, which you don't necessarily get a ton up here in the big city in Columbus. So it's nice to escape home and take some long walks.
I agree. And, it's funny, too, because we have to say, I know your family very well, of course. And one thing about the Benson family, they don't sit around. They go. They get out, they walk, they hike. And his father, who is a probate and juvenile judge in Chillicothe, anytime he goes on vacation, Matthew, you can attest to this, there's a challenge or an excursion, an adventure if you go with the Bensons, get ready, right, Matt?
Fact. He is restless, and he's getting old enough now and not as limber as he used to be. So now he's having a couple funny stories that are coming from these adventures. So Debbie can maybe share that a little bit later, but we got some funny stories from him.
That's
we won't even get into that. It's all about you today, Matthew.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
So let's go with a couple of little quick questions, because I'm excited about this. We're going to dig deep with this guy, and it's going to be really interesting. And you'd be like, why do we got this MJ with eFuse? So I'm, that's so mysterious. And yeah, we got his name right there, Matthew Benson, but he goes by MJB. So I'm excited. So let's just go with, don't forget your siblings, because, they're always there for you. Do you have siblings?
For sure. Yeah, I do. I've got 3 brothers. I've got one older than me, one 13 years older than me. He actually works with eFuse now. So he's an attorney and has been working with the company. And then I've got 2 younger brothers, one that's up here at Ohio State named Andrew, who is studying pre-dentistry and is going to dental school at Ohio State next year. And then my youngest brother is Christian, and he's currently at Xavier University studying marketing.
Nice. Yes. So you're kind of in the middle of the mix, right?
I am. Nice. I'm one of the 2 middle guys.
Yeah, nice. So what college did you attend?
Yeah, I went to Ohio University over in Athens. I never thought growing up that would be the school that I ended up at. I always thought I'd escape Ohio and go somewhere else, but somehow I ended up at OU, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I had a tremendous experience there. Absolutely love that school with my whole heart. I met a lot of great people through that, and still frequently go down there to see mentors and old friends. So awesome. Love Athens.
I do want to mention something.
Go ahead.
When you went, part of the reason that you ended up going to Ohio University was because of a scholarship that you received, correct? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was blessed with an opportunity to receive the Cutler Scholarship, which is a full ride, academic ride to OU. So went there, and I was a part of what they call the Cutler Scholars, which was a group of scholars program, or scholars students from across the university, all different domains, but in one house together. And absolutely love that experience. Got to meet the people that actually endowed the scholarship, which are Jack and Sue Ellis, who are longtime Bobcats, OU people that are actually from Chillicothe. And they endowed a scholarship for a student from Chillicothe High School to go get a full ride at OU. So had a tremendous experience both at OU, but in large part due to the Cutler program. And that was the main reason I went there, candidly. But it was a tremendous experience.
So the scholarship, what did you do for academic or athletic wise, or what was this?
I wish I could say athletic, but it wasn't athletic. It was definitely academic. And what was really cool about the Cutler is scholarships from an academics perspective were important, but they were really focused on the holistic person. So part of the scholarship is you actually went and did community service. You went and did outdoor adventures, and you got to really build yourself as an individual from the entire perspective.
So you got to be you.
I got to be me.
And that's 100% true, Lynn, because he is no stranger to servicing the community. I mean, he is a true believer. He was raised in a family where you give back to your community in a lot of ways. So again, he's part of a bigger group of a lot of good people.
You know what? Just to see you, I love you already. You could just tell. So
he's a great young man.
So we're going to go to how old are you?
This is the thing. With everything you're doing, once people realize what all you have done, this is a big question. Not because I don't like to talk about age. I say age is just a number, except right now. Tell me.
I agree, though. I agree. I don't usually tell people, but I'm only 24 years old.
Oh,
24 years old.
24, half of my age.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, we're going to get into what you are currently doing and how you got there. And when we get into that, people are going to say, wait, 24?
And you know what I want to do? I'm going to tease with this question, but we're going to get back to this question. But I'm going to just plant the seed here. This is a question I'll answer in a little bit. You were in Forbes. Can you tell us about that? Okay. I'm teasing you with the question coming later.
Yes.
Because right now is, there's a lot of questions I want to ask you, but I think what's really cool is, let's see. Okay. We're going to tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, so eFuse is a software company in the esports and video game industry, which is a little nerdy. And I know most people probably don't realize that there's an entire industry built around this, but our platform helps aspiring gamers and gaming competitors find opportunities in the space. So tournaments, team openings, scholarships, you name it, you come to eFuse and you can find those opportunities. So we started this in 2018. It was actually an idea I had while I was at OU. It's kind of a cool story. While I was there, we had an entire semester where we were tasked with conducting research on the esports and video game industry. And I grew up playing video games, but I had no idea what I'll call the business of games really existed. Fast forward, we developed this 180-page report. And from this report, what we realized is the industry is growing really rapidly. And all of these new scholarships to play varsity sports at universities, tournaments were being created, but there was no platform for gamers like myself to go and find them. So I graduated OU, I moved to Columbus, and about a year and a half after working at a venture capital firm, felt confident enough to start the company with my co-founder, Austin. And from there, we've now got 65 employees. We've got hundreds of thousands of people utilizing the platform, and it's been a pretty wild ride.
So, I'm excited because, I'm thinking of doing the Oculus thing myself, being, live feed and the production and all that. So you and I are going to have to talk on the sideline.
We should. Well, I've got one right around the corner, actually.
Especially with the Gen X, industry.
So, well, I got to tell you, I haven't played any video games since Atari, but I was a badass Frogger player. Let me tell you. Ribbit. I have no idea about any of this. I know.
Doesn't even know what you're talking about. What's a Frogger?
I started GameCube. That's where I started.
GameCube.
Oh my goodness. So okay, so we're gonna ask you the question of where is eFuse office? Because Debbie thinks that's an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, we're based right here in the heart of Columbus in the short north. So in Columbus, Ohio, we started out of a dorm room to some extent, and then moved out to a warehouse out by the airport in Whitehall, and then eventually had enough success where we could scale up and actually get a legitimate office and move down to the short north. And actually just 2 weeks ago, moved into our first fully owned facility. So we're right on High Street, have ground floor access and directly accessible to the community.
So what I want to know is, where did the office was before it became a real office? Because you got Mac, Apple was in a garage, and you got this and that. But where were your humble beginnings?
Dorm room.
Basically.
Was it?
Yeah, basically it was. Yeah, I started there, had the idea there, and then I moved. When I started working in Columbus, I became an executive in residence there, an entrepreneur in residence there. And part of my task was to start thinking about building this business. So I really started to cultivate the idea in the Ohio Innovation Fund offices, and then eventually left to go work in a warehouse somewhere, and then eventually got our formal office.
So eFuse, where did you come up with that name?
So the name, and actually not many people know this, but our original name was 3E. And I have no idea what that was or what that even meant. Like, it's been so long ago that I tried to block it out of my memory, but we came up with eFuse because our mission is we want to take esports and video games and we want to fuse them together. We want to fuse all of the fragmentation that exists into one centralized platform and ecosystem.
Oh, okay.
That's really cool.
That is pretty awesome. So let's go back to this. Where you were in Forbes? You were in Forbes magazine.
Debbie's got the cover, it looks like.
Nice.
Yeah, I was
really
fortunate.
Where you are inside.
Open
give us the deets on that.
It's
just
I'm
an article in
I'm
his
a
name.
small little
and his name
doesn't matter.
My name's never been in there. It's a big deal. I love it that you're in there. Tell us about it, Matthew.
Yeah, it was a really great experience. It was one of those things growing up that you always read those lists, and so I don't think I expected to. Yeah,
30 people under 30 making it on their way, right?
Actually,
is that what that meant?
It's per industry. So it's like they have one for video games, they have one for social media, they have one for XYZ, right? And so that opportunity came up at the end of 2020, I believe. So going into 2021 is when I was selected, and it was actually one of my mentors that submitted my name. I didn't even know we were going through the process, and then found out early part of 2021, and it was a really cool thing. It didn't change my life necessarily any, right? I'm the same person the next day that it comes out, but it was a really cool honor.
Yeah.
And I put it towards our company, right? I mean, because of the success of all the people and all the hard work that our company's done. I'm just fortunate that I got the recognition on behalf of everybody else that did the work. So it was a really cool blessing and a really cool opportunity.
So let's dive a little bit deeper in the fact that when you started this, and I'm not putting your parents under the bus, but I am a parent and I am a grandma, so I have the right to ask this question. What did they think when you were talking about doing this? I mean, seriously,
Mom, you might want to leave the chat here. I don't know if you.
No,
No,
she'll be okay.
I know, I'm kidding. They were extremely supportive. I don't think that they, as many people, don't understand all of the nuances to the gaming community and all the opportunities that exist because it is so new, it's so fresh, and the industry is still being formed. So I don't think they really understood what I was doing, but they believed in me and always supported me through the process. And
Let's hear this.
Listening, but they were always supportive through the process and always had my back through thick and thin and still do. And they actually had an opportunity to come up to Columbus when we just opened up the new office 2 weeks ago and got to meet the entire team and really get a feel for what we were up to and what we were doing. And I think my dad kept asking, so is this really legit? Is this a real thing? I was like, Dad, I've been doing this for 3 years and we've got 60 employees. This is a real thing. So it's pretty funny, but they've been nothing but supportive and I love them.
No, the reason
I do remember though the one stipulation, the only thing that I know I'm too close to the situation, so I got to give it to you like it's straight. I know that you had all these opportunities and you had such an entrepreneur mind that you were ready to just move on from school and start this and go. And I remember your mother saying, Matthew, you are going to graduate.
They forced it. I definitely
and you did. And you did.
Well, it was probably for a backup reason, but what did she say? He finally convinced his father that it was real.
It was for real.
But I only say this because, good parents, they're doing what they need to do and give you some solid advice, but they hope that you use your own mind to do what you want. I mean, truly. And I'll never forget, my daughter, I'm putting myself out here too, for a second, but my daughter, she was the journalist and lead writer of the yearbook, the editor of school and all this stuff. And I could have died being a Gen X, but anyways, my daughter, she was 18 her senior year and she decided, I told her, she wasn't 18 yet. And I told her she couldn't get a tattoo. She couldn't get nobody to do a tattoo. And so what she goes to Amazon, gets the stuff and she does her own tattoo. And she drew it and everything. And I'm like, all righty then. She goes, well, Mom, you said I couldn't go out and get a tattoo. I'm like, yeah, you're right. She stayed in the perimeter. But they viewed her showcase of tattooing her arm. She did a great job because she's a great artist. But the point is she put in there, well, my mom really wasn't supportive of it, but the point is that she's going to do what she's going to do. And she followed the rules and she, and I told her when she was 18, she could do it. And so again, a parent wants a kid to be their own person, but they're always going to give them what they feel that they need to know. And then from there, I'm sure your parents are proud as a peacock of you because you are very well spoken and you're doing great things for a community that needed a platform. So that's fantastic. So I commend you for that. But again, your parents, they got good enough shoulders to take the slack that they didn't know what you were doing at first, but again, I guarantee they're going to be your biggest advocate and they'll have all Gen X and baby boomers all on board before you have another division there, and then you got to bring the parents in, that kind of thing.
I know my dad has one of those hats and he wears it every day. So
he's sporting it too. Matthew, I have a question for you that I'd like for you to share. I have two questions, obviously, but one is, I understand that it's a gaming platform, but even for me, understanding what you do, but not really getting it. So could you explain for everyone who maybe have not played since Atari Frogger, for all of us who maybe don't understand, how do you put people together to game and what is it, an app? Is that what you created? And give me the deets on that.
Sure. So I think it's important to first understand the context of the industry. So there are obviously all of these different games that exist, right? So you have the Call of Duties, you have the Fortnites, you have the Mario Karts. These are individual game titles. And the way I like to think about it is you can liken it to traditional sports. Mario Kart is equivalent to basketball. Call of Duty is equivalent to football. They're almost like these different sports. And when you look at a competitive structure, very similar to how you see it on the traditional sports side at universities, the same thing exists in gaming. So Ohio State actually has 6 varsity level teams that they recruit full ride scholarships for people to come play varsity level esports at their university. And most people don't realize that these are opportunities that actually exist. So what we're trying to accomplish is to not only enlighten individuals that may not be familiar with the community with that these opportunities exist, but beyond that, we want to connect aspiring gamers who have a passion for gaming and love it through and through, and that's all they do, to opportunities in the industry for them to change their life. So for some people, that could be getting a scholarship to play varsity level esports. For others, it could be a job in the industry. And for others, it could be a tournament in the weekend where they can win $10,000 in prizing. It really depends on the.
Oh, we have a little lag there. Let's give him a second to come back. I do know eFuse has given scholarships themselves to students to go on and play in college. Now you're back. Hey,
That's
Matthew.
awesome.
I lost you for a second.
Am I back?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You're back. You're back.
Sorry.
eFuse gave scholarships as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So when we first started, we actually gave $200,000 away worth of scholarships right away. Am I still cutting out?
No, you're here.
Good.
You're here. You're here.
You're good. You're good. Keep talking. You got it. We can hear you.
Okay.
Are you on a laptop? Are you on a laptop or on a phone?
am.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just saying we did give away $200,000 worth of scholarships. We have a bunch of partners that list scholarships through our platform. We have over 200 universities that recruit actively students from the ecosystem. So yeah, we're trying to do our part in connecting students and aspiring gamers with those opportunities.
That is amazing.
So on your website, if people were to go to like eFuse and look you up, I mean, it probably does a good explaining of things, correct?
Yeah, eFuse.gg,
Okay.
You can check it out.
.gg?
.gg, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that. And
you're also on Instagram, and that's where I actually saw scholarships being awarded. There's people from all over the world who are uploading their media, showing them gaming together through your platform. So was it an app that you created in the beginning to put this all together?
Yeah, we have a mobile application, but we also, the website is the main driver for us. So we're really focused on building these software services that allow people to connect with those different opportunities and to create those opportunities. So for example, if you want to run an esports tournament and you want to invite all your friends to compete for $100, we have a system where you can do that. You can put on an online tournament and facilitate it all the way through. So for us, we're building these software services that essentially empower the community to create opportunities.
You and I are going to hook up. We're going to
MJB's in the house.
Yes.
He knows how to get in big old eFuse game or a e-game tournament.
Yeah.
So what is the future of eFuse?
Yeah, I mean, the future of eFuse is we want to continue to grow and continue to provide more opportunities for gamers. And our ultimate mission is we want to create a world where any person can change their life through gaming. That's the vision and mission for eFuse.
So let me ask you this, because some of us are not knowledgeable enough, but we're still going to ask a silly question. And that question is, so we've got gaming, but then we've got this whole thing of this like Oculus. Like, is that even, that's part of gaming too, right? Like there's different things of that, like the virtual world, and then like the metaverse. Are you getting involved in that? And like, we're going to, like, where is there going to be there lobbies where people integrate? I mean, like, is there, I mean,
Sure.
I'm sure people are sitting here going, I wonder if this is all connected or anything. So if maybe you want to talk about any of that.
Sure. So, I mean, gaming, that term is kind of all encompassing of things like the metaverse, things like mobile games where you're playing Candy Crush on your phone. It's also encompassing of Mario Kart and Call of Duty. But there's different niches to each piece of that. One niche is esports. So that's like the competitive aspect of the gaming ecosystem. The metaverse is another relatively new thing, but really all that's saying is it's creating a virtual environment for you to be more immersive into a game. That's really what the metaverse is all about. So you look at things like Minecraft or you look at things like Fortnite, those actually are metaverses. It's a different world that you're sort of transported into with an avatar, and you're able to create and manufacture the spaces you're in. So the Oculus is an example of virtual reality and being implemented or inputted into that world.
So what I'm saying is when you say gaming, for people that don't realize it, that gaming really, the umbrella is some metaverse in there. There is some stuff. So like your company's involved in that then, correct?
We are adjacently involved to the metaverse. Broadly, yes, we're in gaming. Our main focus is the esports sector, but yeah, we adjacently touch things like the metaverse.
Okay, just because I think some people are worried about the words. Some people aren't knowledgeable about it, but they don't realize how gaming and that are like marrying into something. Correct? I mean, I think we have a chance here to explain it a little bit to people. And what's that?
Okay, so this is another magazine. It's called 614. It's from Columbus, and all of a sudden, I get this call from my friend, and she was like, your friend, Sean Benson, her son is in this magazine. And I'm like, oh, I don't think it's him, because Sean would have told me, his mom. She goes, no, it's him. It's definitely him. So I call Sean. Hey, Sean, do you know Matthew's in the 614? Oh, really? She's like, I don't know. I think he's like in Europe right now. I have no idea. So he's doing great things. He's being recognized, but your people, all of your people together as a collective, Matthew, I know you always give props to them because they are so amazing, and you're only as good as the people that work with you, right? Where 100%. Were they the last couple of days? I was trying to follow. It looked like they were in another country recently.
Oh, our
Patrick
team?
Klein?
Yeah, we've got team members from all over the world. We've got people in Germany, we've got people in Canada, South America, East Coast, West Coast of the U.S., and our director of international expansion, Lance Mudd, he's had a crazy onslaught of the last few days. I think he was in Paris, then he was in California.
That's it.
Somewhere else. So yeah, his job is to be international, and he's doing a good job at it.
International mystery, hey?
We call him Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, that's amazing, Matthew, the way this has grown. I'm just so incredible. It's so incredible. Even though I don't game, I'm super interested. I have a big question. Everyone wants to know what you think. There are people who say that that gaming is a sport, and it's not a sport. So I guess you better answer correctly, right? Is gaming considered a sport to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you look at it from a competitive perspective. These individuals are competing in a different type of arena. They're still primarily using their what's the correct term? Like not interaction time, but quick reflexes, essentially reflex time. But to me, yes, they're competing. They're going towards the same mission. They have team structures. They're communicating, developing leadership skills. They're very much so competing in a part of sports. I think it is important to say that like this isn't as physical as basketball, football, soccer, but it requires different skills, right?
Well, gee, where does chess online, fit into all this?
But I do. I think now that I've educated. Oh, look, Tanya's on. Hi, Theodore. The more I learn about gaming, the more I can 100% put it into the athletic sports arena for sure. And that's why they have the esports arena. Can you tell us a little bit about, you said one time it's exciting to even watch gamers play against one another. Can you explain that environment?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's hard to think about, hey, I'm going to be sitting here watching somebody play video games, but I consider it similar to like watching LeBron play basketball. If you want to watch somebody really good at something, do it at a high level, you're going to be entertained, right? So the best gamers in the world, they do things on the remote or on their PC that I can't even fathom of doing. So that to me is entertaining. And when you go to these events, and not every event's like this, but for some of the big ones, I went to one here in Columbus where they sold out nationwide arena for the Call of Duty World Championship. And I felt more excited and like pumped up, and I didn't even know what was going on at the time, than I felt at traditional sports in some instances, because the people are so rowdy. They have the noise clankers banging them together. So it's very much so a competitive environment. It's entertaining, and I think it's going to continue to grow. Beyond that, I think it's also important to know, like, people that are competing in esports, most of them have not had these opportunities to be a part of a team or develop leadership and communication skills like this. And this is a fun stat. 80% of students that are participating in high school esports have never been involved in an extracurricular activity before. And what we know about being involved in extracurricular activities, if you're involved, you're more likely to show up, you're more likely to have better grades, you're more likely to be a productive student. So the fact that we're touching students that have never been touched before with extracurriculars is a really important piece, and I think can unlock some educational opportunities and educational growth inside of the community.
I believe that because my grandson, he's 13 and he plays football and baseball, and he also games Fortnite and Call of Duty and all that other fun stuff, or whatever the games are. I mean, and so does my granddaughter, and she's 9 years old.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's true, Matthew. Great point, though, for the people who may not have the athletic ability physically. They can break out and have something to do to keep them on the right path as they mature. That is amazing. That I agree with that. That's really cool. Yeah, I was curious too. Have you? Go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear you. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think it's. I love this because, and I'm passionate about this because you don't have to be 6'5" and able to jump out of the gym. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, or the skills, the physical characteristics you have. You can be good at video games, male, female, height, no height, weight, no weight. It doesn't matter. And it's an even playing field. I think that's something that's really exciting and can potentially be really inclusive as far as building a community.
I'm Mimi's going to be involved before you know it. You want to read this, Deb?
Yes. Mickey Wolf
Michael
says, Michael?
Yes, Michael.
It's sorry. You have a new nickname, Mickey. Maybe I should put my readers on. It's also great for kids in rural communities and towns to connect with other parts of the state. Most Montana high schools are looking into integrating into the schools as well as college opportunities. BPA just did their video films for competition for esports. That's awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Michael is a film producer and everything. He's been on CBS, NBC. So he's thanks for watching, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
And on that point, Michael, I think there's a really interesting point on that, Michael. The fact that these people, in many instances, might not have the resources to travel the world and meet people from different backgrounds and different ethnicities. Gaming provides a pathway for you to have conversations you may not have been able to have before. You can talk to people all over the world and build friendships with people all over the world. And I think that's a really cool opportunity from a kid from Southeast Ohio to be able to talk to somebody overseas in Europe where I may not have ever had that opportunity before. So great call out.
I love that.
Very good, Matthew. Very true. And Michael, thank you. Sorry about the little slip up on your name. I want to know more about Matthew. I know people call you Matt now, but I just got to call you Matthew. Can you remember your early, I feel like you've always kind of had a business mind, like an entrepreneurial personality. Can you give us any insight into your childhood, or when did it click for you that you have that business mind?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's something that I developed. I had a natural knack for, I think, leadership, and my parents both worked extremely hard. So that work ethic aspect is completely a credit to them. And you made a point earlier of like the community service and like the almost like guilt of and the desire rather to help and drive the community forward. That was always something that was really important. And yeah, it all started with golf ball. But from that perspective of my parents, from a hard work perspective and from a community buy-in and like helping the community, it drove me to want to build something and help drive communities forward. And it started, as my mom said, by going out on the golf course, getting golf balls, washing them, reselling them to golfers. I was in high school and would go buy glow sticks for 25 cents and go sell them for $2 on the 4th of July and hire some of my buddies to go do it with me. I had a cousin that went to film school. So we would go to dance recitals, record dance recitals, make DVDs and sell them to parents. So there was these little nuances and these little experiences that were entrepreneurship. And I didn't really realize that word at the time or what it really was. But through going through it, what I realized is I love building businesses. I love building communities, and I love driving the ecosystem forward. And it's just kind of cascaded into being what it is today. But I think natural innate skills on the leadership side, seeing the vision of buy into the community and hard work with my parents, and these experiences kind of coalescing into crescendoing into this cool experience in building eFuse.
I love that the fact that you went outside the box with this, because I'm such an entrepreneur too. And I started a lot of different things back in the day. And one thing I do love about this whole story is that, you went ahead and you created something that wasn't created there. And, and to be able to fulfill things that other people, I always tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket, by no means. And that includes the fact that, had you had all your eggs in one basket, I mean, and I do stream to YouTube right now and to my pages here on Facebook, Gods or whatever, but you're in Facebook jail right now. Okay. So you're still showing on Facebook. But again, I say that to say this, you got to create your worlds in different arenas. And the fact that, you don't have to worry about Facebook going down because you got your arena somewhere else. And so it's important for people to brand themselves and be all over the place so that you can still communicate with your people. So I think it's great to say that, you've done that ecosystem of protecting and knowing and having the community safe. And you have Facebook as a great example of what not to do.
Well, and he also is a great example of, it doesn't matter that he's 24 years old. I sit here thinking I can learn so much from him. Absolutely. And let me tell you too, you are very well spoken, but the tone of your voice is really good too. Like, he sounds really good on here. I have my little earphones in. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
It must be the audio tuning you guys are doing in the background.
Yeah, I'm audio tuning it. No, but it really, the tone of your voice is really good. So that is amazing. I kind of thought that I know you always were in leadership roles, but I just kind of wondered for you personally where you felt like, oh, this really clicks. And even to the point where you're going through school, you had an academic full ride scholarship and thought, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm so excited. So we can all learn from you to say, if you get an idea and a thought and there's passion behind it, don't just think about it, take action and do it. And what a great example you are, Matthew, for everyone listening and the platform that you created. But I have a feeling this isn't where it stops. What are your future goals for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for me, like I love eFuse. I love building. So even when this is done, I think I'll want to build something else. I like taking nothing and turning it to something. And for me, it's about impacting the community. So whatever I feel like I can do to drive impact in the community for eFuse, it's how am I servicing the gaming community, give people opportunities to change their life through gaming. What's next? I'm not sure. But I know I love what I'm doing, and I know I'm learning a ton, and I have great mentors. And it's one of the hardest thing. It is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the highest highs and the lowest lows, but the reward at the end of it and the impact you can have as a result of building a business is one that I wouldn't trade for the world. So I love what I do, and we'll find out what's next.
Yeah, well, that's true. I asked you at a really impromptu time too, because I mean, you just moved business offices. You're just in the influx of all this amazing things happening. So I'm sure that there's a lot within your business that's growing, and you have details and things like that you're super in tune to right now.
So yeah, it's one of my mentors always says there's a difference between working in the business and working on the business, and that sometimes when you're in the business so much, you can't zoom out and think about what's coming. I can see a couple months ahead with eFuse, but beyond that, it's difficult to think beyond. But.
So you must have gotten a few investors to get involved with you, right? And how was that of an experience for you? I mean, obviously your passion showed through for them to follow through, but as far as with the venture, you started out with capital and all that stuff. I mean, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. So prior to starting eFuse, it's important to know I worked at the venture capital firm, and the way I describe it is like it's a slow down Shark Tank, right? I mean, we look at businesses over the course of a few weeks and decide if we want to make an investment in them. And I got to work hand in hand with the managing partner there who had been doing it for 20 years, and I learned a ton from him. But it's different being on the other side of the pitch, actually trying to get people to bring money in. And what I realized really quick is you get a lot of no's and you can't get discouraged. And especially early on, we didn't really have anything to show for the business. We were trying to convince them that we were the people that they should be putting their hard-earned dollars into. So they're really betting on you as individuals. So we probably talked to 200 people and got 15 that actually put money in the first round of funding. And you have to realize that it's a numbers game to some extent, but you also can't look at every conversation as a transaction. At the end of the day, these are people investing dollars, and it's really important to build a relationship with them because you're married. Once they invest in your business, you're married all the way through. So the hard times, the good times, they're going to be with you. And you want to make sure that those people know they can rely on you and you can rely on them. As we've gone through, we've actually done multiple rounds of funding. And as the business progresses, it becomes less about investing on the individual. It's still a part of it, but it's more on the results. Did you deliver on what you said you were going to deliver on with our prior money? So it's been a great experience. It's a really hard experience, but I've got great mentors and great people as part of our organization that continuously deliver, which makes my job a little easier.
So somebody out there looking at this and going, how would you help them or suggest them to build, ROI, on
Sure.
basic, go ahead.
I think if you want to start a business, it starts with just taking the leap of faith. It's one of the scariest things to do. I was fortunate that I was young. I didn't have much going on aside from my day job. So I decided it was the right time to take the leap of faith. But beyond that, I think you can't get lost in thinking about the end state. You've got to focus on stacking wins on the daily basis. And it's showing up, it's executing, it's putting one more brick in line. And then eventually you look back and you've got these series of wins that lead to bigger outcomes. So for me, it's thinking about the future, understanding where we want to go, but it's focusing on the day-to-day and stacking a win that day.
I love it.
Living in the moment, Matthew. Way to go. Day to day, what you do today, right now. Do you have time to have a personal life right now?
No, not really.
Not really.
My mom tells me I need to have more of a personal life, but my life is eFuse right now, and I think it requires me being all in, and hopefully that's not the case forever, because it'd be really hard to have a family right now, but it is something I want to do long term. But right now I'm married to the business and love what I'm doing.
Okay, good for you. That's amazing. Yes.
That's what I love. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you would have liked for us to ask, or would like to share that you haven't shared with anybody?
I don't think so. I want to just say thank you. I really appreciate you inviting me on. This has been a ton of fun. And obviously Debbie's a close family friend and has been a tremendous supporter for me throughout my entire life and has always been there through thick and thin. So I love her. I love her family, and I appreciate you all having me on. And the energy is just, it's vibrant, and it exudes out. So I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to have to hook up, because I do have some visions on the Gen X getting in that arena. And it's going to be the clown right here, starting with the clown right here. So I have tons of ideas.
Do you need more investors? Would you like to have more investors?
Not right now. We will maybe eventually, but not right now at this time.
Wow, that's amazing that you're set. That's really cool. So Lynn and I always like to ask this too. And in closing, what is any advice that you can give anyone watching? I don't care if it's about business, if it's about life, if it's about being 24 years old and blazing a trail, or a quote, because I know how your family, Jeff Benson, is about quoting people. What is it that you can end this with to give the people watching?
It's a great question. One of my favorite quotes, I'll give a shout out to my dad. One of my favorite quotes is, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards, and you have to trust in something. And for me, I'm fortunate that I grew up a man of faith. I have great parents that are godly people. And that's something that I've relied on in the really hard times. And I look back over the course of eFuse, I never could have painted the picture that it's become. And I have no idea what the future holds, but I'm excited about it. And I trust in God that things are going to work out if we keep showing up and doing what we need to do on the day-to-day basis. So you can't connect the dots looking forward, take the leap, and eventually it'll all work out.
Awesome.
Your dad is probably very, very proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple questions I usually ask on my Live, Love, Laugh show, but I wanted to ask you, what are your successful habits?
That's a good question.
Because we still had a little time, so I'll pull
let's use it.
I don't know. That's a great question. I'm not a really habitual person. It kind of changes on the week to week with the needs of the business.
But can I help you?
What? Go ahead.
Can I help you with that question?
Yeah, give me one.
I think what you're saying is you always, no matter what successful thing you're doing, you're always, the end goal is, you always are focused, singularly
on that moment.
focused on the end goal, right?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And one thing I will say is like I'm very cognizant of like my reset periods. Like I know when my brain's done for the day. I go home and I know exactly what resets me. Reading, watching TV, going on walks, going to church every week. Like those are things that fuel me up. And I'm very cognizant that you've got to get enough sleep. You've got to do the things that are important to you. So when you're filled, you'll be able to pour into other people. So
Okay. I love that. So how about this one? What mistakes have you made along the way?
a lot. I've got great mentors. So I've been fortunate to sidestep some of them, but for the most part, I were thinking about a couple in particular. Firing quickly is something that I learned. Hire slow, fire quick. Just from a business perspective, it's a really painful thing to do. It's never fun, but it's usually the right decision, and your gut usually pans out. Other mistakes.
Well, luckily you graduated.
Yeah.
Because that would have, honestly, you put that time, energy, and the Ellis's had, in the Cutler program, invested in you, and you would have maybe looked back and thought, shoot, I should have just went ahead and got that little piece of paper. So you did that. I mean, in the day-to-day life, we all make some mistakes, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, you're obviously doing more right than wrong because you're super successful, and we're all just so proud of you.
But you know what? The best thing about college or anything going to school is that you started it and you finished it. And that's one thing that that, because there's hard time, like, I got these exams to do and I got this to do. I wrote a book last year. I was like, but I was like, but when I'm done, I'm an author, So again, I think it makes you have that, I had to make it to graduation or I'll never hear this at the end of it,
Oh yeah. Sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
You got to push through the adversity.
And so how do you organize your time?
Yeah, I usually in the mornings, I like to have a relatively slow start, drink a coffee, read. After that, I try to crank out the majority of my important work early in the morning. And then I do my internal team meetings then. During probably like between 10 and noon. Noon, I try to have an external lunch, and then I do external calls from basically 1 to 5. And then from 5 to whenever I actually do the work I need to do for the rest of the day. So I usually work like 12 to 14 hour days, but I love it.
Yeah. So if you had one piece of advice for someone starting out, what would it be?
Just take the leap and trust in something, and be self-aware enough to understand what you're not good at, and surround yourself with great people. I'm not a technician. I can't build software. I have a great co-founder who I wouldn't be here without. His name's Austin May. He's also a Southern Ohio boy. Shout out Wheelersburg. But like I wouldn't be here without him. And understanding that I can't do that and surrounding myself with great people has been a massive unlock for the growth of the business and the growth of me as an individual.
There you go. So what kind of people do you most enjoy hanging out with?
Motivated people, kind people, empathetic people, people that know that it's bigger than them. They don't have an ego. They're willing to sacrifice for the good of the team, and people that are godly.
Awesome. I love it. And this one, what's the best piece of advice you have received?
That's a good question. This too shall pass.
Yes.
This too shall pass.
My mom used to say that all the time. Yeah. Good or bad. It goes
never
on.
As big. It's never as big as you think it is.
I'll end with this one probably. What books do you think have impacted your life other than the Bible? Because I know you're going to say that.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I love that by Covey. I also love more on the business side, The Ride of a Lifetime by Bob Iger. He's the CEO of Walt Disney for a while. Some really interesting business insights there. 5 a.m. Club's pretty solid. Those are a couple.
There you go. Awesome.
That's amazing because when someone asks me what's your favorite book, I'm like, I can see the cover. I know I can tell you what I read. It's so you're good. That's good. Oh yeah,
Find your
he
family.
has a copy of that.
How'd I forget?
Yeah, why you didn't say that? I have no idea. I'm sitting here reading the 614 and Forbes because you're in it. You know, to talk about me. No, I'm teasing. I adore you. I'm proud of you, Lynn. Aren't you just so happy that you got it? Yeah, that's her book. That you came on. And is there anything? We already have your website address. People know you're on Instagram. Are those the two best ways to reach out to you?
For sure.
Oh, hi,
sure.
Tori.
What's up, Tori?
Yeah.
Just down the street.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the best ways to reach out. Twitter, Instagram,
Twitter as well. What's your Twitter handle?
MJB_OH.
Okay. MJB_OH.
We'll end up putting that. We'll put that in the messages.
Put that in the info.
Yeah, in the inbox or whatever. But
okay, very good.
This has been really awesome. We thank you so much for being here, and especially because you're just going to be one of very elite many people that if you want to stay here, we got an announcement to do before we leave, and that's basically I'm super excited, and being that she has somebody here that knows her, Debbie is such a great person interviewing that I'm encouraging her that we're going to put a little stop to our show, and we're going to have it as pop-ups, but I'm going to help produce Debbie's new show that she's going to have herself because she's that fabulous. So
Yay.
and we're going to
I've been saying for a while I'm going to do it, so I'm doing it, and she's going to help produce it, so it'll be great.
That's awesome.
I feel that she's proud mom. Yes, you should be. And God bless you for bringing somebody here that's bringing us to the next stage in life. That's, we had a little thing happen that affected a lot of people's world, and the world that you're bringing is bringing life and connections to people when it's so hard to connect in the real world. So the virtual world, what you're doing is greater than what people think, because there's so many people alone and they're by themselves.
Yeah,
for so
don't
many
underestimate
reasons.
this is a big deal.
This is huge, and so you're bringing a lot of life to many people that wouldn't have a life. You're helping a lot of people that would look at suicide or drugs and things like that. And so I really I'm always looking. I'm a visional person, and I can just see what you're doing, and it's just I'm visual, and it's just I can just see where this is going and the impact you have. So you're doing great things, and so you coming, it's not, you're not the typical guy that wants to be interviewed, and yet you came and did this anyways, and that really shows how much you're doing it for the greater cause than yourself. And so
you should do a lot more of it. He's been interviewed quite a bit. I've seen him on. But I'm just saying,
I'm an introvert, and I know, and I can kind of call him out on seeing that but he sees the bigger picture, and therefore that's why he comes out of. I'm hitting a spot, aren't I?
I don't know. I want to continue to connect people. That's amazing. Yeah. Continue connecting.
So I know Matt's going to be on a couple of my shows, and I know that I'm I'm building a TV network myself, and I see that we're going to be connected, because this is not going to be your last interview with me. That's for damn sure.
Let's do it.
So, all right. Well, you guys,
thank you, Matthew.
We are so thankful that you're here. Stay right with us. And is there anything else you want to say, Deb, before we go?
No, I'm good. Everything's good. I thought this was an amazing interview. Thank you so much, Matthew.
All right. Yep. Well, I'm going to do something funky here. I don't even know what the sound looks like, but I'm playing around. I don't want to mess up on Debbie's show. We're going to end this way. So you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next week.